Hello everyone, Canon here, and since it is near the end of May already, it is time for this month's CannonChat, and I do know that I haven't uploaded very much, if anything, since the last CannonChat that I did, and I am going to explain why that is in this one for this month. So let me just filter these. So I'm doing World of Warplanes again. Nice and easy game to talk about various things without putting, hopefully, too much effort into thinking about the gameplay. So, yeah, go ahead and just use the Yak-19. So, with that being said, I have been very busy the last month or so, or at least my family has, more accurately. So, pretty much my whole family is, intermediate family is planning on moving to a new house. And so, with all of that going on, things have been a little bit hectic, and my sister was doing a lot of work on her house in order to sell it to move also near where me and my parents are going to move to. So them moving back into this house, and and she has a 4-year-old daughter that, you know, makes things a little bit more hectic than usual and a lot more crowded. So that's basically the main gist of things, of us looking at houses and trying to decide on what we were going to get and everything, what would work for us. And in the meantime, I haven't really been super motivated to really record anything. And part of that is because I've been needing to take care of some stuff that I've been procrastinating on for real life stuff, that I just haven't completely dealt with. I have dealt with some of it, just not all of it yet. So that is also a factor. But all of that kind of accumulates over time to leading to this point. So, with that being said, for World of Warplanes, they are having reruns of all of the events again. I don't remember how long ago it was, maybe 3 months ago or something like that. They did a rerun of all of the various events that they did around World of Warplanes 2.0 update. So this is the Bomber Escort one, and then they're also doing the Attrition game mode and Invasion game mode and whatnot. And I don't think I'm actually facing anybody. Nice. That's actually pretty rare with this game mode, actually. So I'm defending, so my goal is to destroy the bombers or run the enemy out of respawns. I think I'm just in the tail gunner of the RB-17, yeah. Allowed us some good shots in this IL-20 while I'm waiting for stuff to repair. So going back on topic, so that is the stuff that has been going on in my life lately. Just a lot of Oh, don't want to ram that guy. That has made things a little hectic lately. And I think at least for one major point in your life, you're probably gonna have a hectic time, whether it is moving or dealing with stuff in some way, shape, or form. So I have lived pretty much in the same house as that I have been living in for pretty much all of my life. So this is really going to be a somewhat big change compared to some of the other stuff I have dealt with. First was my medical injury in 2019, I think it was, and then even though that I was kind of living semi on my own, I was living at my grandma's house while working out there because I got a job that was somewhat, well, I shouldn't say somewhat, quite a bit away from where my parents live. So that was something. I think it was probably one of the best experiences that I could have had, to being independent, but also not completely independent, if that makes sense. It allowed me to learn stuff of like going to the grocery store by myself and figuring out what I need and everything, and then figuring out food choices throughout the week and a schedule and everything. So I really do feel blessed that I was able to experience that. And unfortunately, with my medical injury, that I'm still feeling the effects of, kind of took away a bit of that, I would say, because I regressed from being independent to being dependent on my parents again. But at the same time, I'm much happier than I was when I was working, because when I was working night shift, and well, I did quite like the work that I was doing and the people that I worked with and everything. I just did not have any friends or family I really interacted with, especially throughout the week, because the people that I was working with, while I did enjoy working with them, they weren't really people that I thought that I would really do anything outside of work for, if that makes sense. I mean, I'm sure anyone we're working would know of a few coworkers that you're fine working with, but like doing stuff with them outside of work just isn't really something that you think about for any kind of reason. So, I mean, that's perfectly fine. Like, for an example, most of the people that I worked with either smoked or drank alcohol and everything. And that is just something that I do not want to do. So that was definitely a big reason. I would say like 80 to 90% of the people that I worked with smoked for sure. And all that. But while I was working, because I wasn't really interacting with people, and since I don't really have like a huge list of friends that I would hang out with anyway, even I would say even back where I'm living now, it just made me feel very lonely and alone, and it's kind of one of those things where, while I'm not the most sociable people, of course he gets my pilot again. Oh, come on, really? Get off, Mr. Spitfire. The bots are a lot more aggressive in this game mode, I can tell you that much. Come on, there we go. But like I was saying, I'm not really the most sociable of people. So going from interacting with maybe 2 or 3 good friends to not really doing anything with anyone, you wouldn't really think that would make much of a difference, but it really made all the difference after a while. It just was something that really kind of chipped away at me over time, and it wasn't really the best of feelings. So with that long explanation out of the way, that is why I haven't really been uploading anything on the life side of things. The other thing is that, I don't know, I kind of have been feeling like I'm not really sure where I'm actually going to go with my channel, if anything at all. And the reason why I say that is because of a few reasons. Well, one of the reasons is because I kind of feel like out of everything that I have put up on my channel, a big portion of anyone viewing my content is going to be like the League reviews of Path of Exile and a few odds and ends of things that I pretty much only do like once every few months, which is completely fine at the end of the day. I mean, if people want to know my thoughts about League mechanics, first impressions, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But also, the Let's Play stuff, I kind of felt like the Bendy and the Ink Machine Let's Play that I did, I think 5 years ago now, was pretty much my best Let's Play that I had done pretty much ever. I don't think I really ever got to the point where I topped the level of commentary and entertainment that one gave me, because it's pretty rare for me to go to a Let's Play that I have done and then actually enjoy my own content, and that's mostly because, you know, hearing your own voice, it's a lot different than hearing someone else's voice. So it takes kind of an extra level to... It has to be a higher standard in order for me to really like what I put out. Like, I might think, oh, well, this is decent and everything, but not really exceptional. And the Bendy and Ink Machine Let's Play, I mean, to some extent, some of the other ones, but definitely that one in particular, I felt like I definitely did the best on. And surprisingly, like, I even enjoyed watching my own stuff. Which, again, that's mostly just down to listening to myself. Like, that isn't really something that I like too much. Got the assist on that. And from that point onward, I just felt like I haven't really been doing Let's Plays enough to really gain experience to the point where I was, for any sort of reason. Whether it was my injury that basically made it so I couldn't really record anything for 6 months to probably 9 months, depending on how that went. I don't specifically remember if I really did much recording even after I recovered enough to walk by myself without a cane. But again, it just felt like I got to the point where and this game mode gives you tons of personal points if you do well. I never got back to that point where I thought that I was improving off of something that I had done years ago because of, well, simply because I just don't do it enough. And because of that, that made me really think about, what do I really want to do with this channel? And I've had some various ideas of doing things. One thing that I had mentioned before is the idea of becoming some sort of VTuber and do live streaming. I'm not sure how well I would do with that, like keeping schedules and everything, to become more like a job. Or what. And then one other thing I wanted to mention that I thought of was actually becoming an Arknights YouTuber, just focusing on one game that I really enjoy and doing content for that and see where that goes. But at the same time, like, I would pretty much have to make a new channel in my mind to be around that type of content, because I probably would want this channel to be like pretty much whatever I feel like putting up, and then that other channel just be dedicated Arknight stuff if I was going to do that. And then one of the things too that I want to mention was just my lack of interest towards like Path of Exile stuff. Like, I made a character for this last league, Ultimatum League, but because they made so many changes that even though that I understood why they made it, they pretty much kind of ruined all of the goals that I was even remotely working towards, and that makes me really hard to be motivated about the game, especially with that on top of that, like, various things that have been building up over time. The server performance has been pretty iffy since probably a year ago, if not longer. And then a bunch of various other things that have been like building up to a point where I'm just not willing to go through the 10 acts of Path of Exile once again in order to really get to a point where I enjoy a build. Like, I just feel like because of that initial time investment that you need, or at least the average player would need in order to go through the campaign of Path of Exile, and then on top of that do a bit of maps in order to get enough currency, in order to get good enough gear, in order to make your build feel good. Like, that's, to me, like, I used to be able to do the acts of the story within roughly 10 hours, but honestly, I don't think I could really do that anymore. I'm more like 15 to 20, just because I haven't really played consistently or much at all for the past probably 6 months. And this was just too kind of like a breaking point for me, that I'm just kind of not even sure if I'm really all that interested much into the game anymore. Or if I was, I would have to spend a lot of time in order to get to the point where I was in terms of skill, in terms of getting through the campaign, and whatever. And since that has been pretty much a main thing that my channel has been at least covering somewhat, that was kind of a point of pretty massive disappointment. And I'm not entirely sure what all I'm going to do with that. So with all those factors in mind, I guess what I'm really trying to say is that I'm not really sure what kind of content that I really even want to do at this point, unless I focus on some other entire game that I haven't really covered on this channel at all, and potentially making a new channel about it. And then on top of that, my life being kind of hectic right now. Now, I don't think I would really say that it's like hectic in a bad way. Like, sometimes when you think of hectic, it might be like a very negative thing, but I feel like, moving, I actually really like the area that my family plans to move to. So I think it'll be a good thing to a good thing for it to happen. But it's just that there's definitely like, regardless of that, there's just a lot of uncertainty with the YouTube style of stuff that has really been hampering my motivation in order to make content. So that, yeah. Might as well title this of why I haven't been uploading stuff more often or something. I am not entirely sure how I even got that guy, because that felt very poorly aimed, but alright. And I haven't really played this plane for quite some time, so I'm surprised on actually doing pretty well with this. But I'm not really being pressured by enemy human players or anything, so that definitely helps. So focusing a little bit on World of Warplanes for anyone who's interested, there's been quite a few planes that I finished specializing. And for this game mode, I've actually had a lot more time, I think. A lot more enjoyment of the Bomber Escort game mode than I did initially. And I can't really explain it. Maybe it's because I've been mostly been playing like ground attackers and stuff, which pretty much are left alone to do their thing in this game mode, or bombers, which are in the same boat. But it does seem to be pretty easy in order to get a good score. You can easily get a large amount of credits in this game mode and everything with the amount of personal points you get. So I think it is really nice as long as you don't get focused down, which did happen. One of the games that I was playing, I was in a Specialized MiG-15 BIS, which was focused down by a non-specialized MiG-15, but since I did a speed build instead of a maneuverability build, it made it so that whenever he caught me by surprise, I was pretty much just dead. Like, there was nothing I could do about it. Oh, come on, the pilot is dead twice in a row, okay. Or injured. I mean, okay. Sure. With this accuracy, let's see if I can even hit this guy. I got him as soon as he came back. In this game mode, when I'm playing against pretty much only bots, like, this is the type of gameplay that I pretty much play World of Warplanes for, like really chill gameplay. Yeah, I probably should have ran away from that, but oh well. That's okay. Okay, got that flight down. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make it to this other one in time. I'm going to have to try. So that is definitely an overview of what has been going on lately. On stuff, but for sure I want to finish Alien Isolation, and then after that I'm thinking of actually trying Minecraft and see how it goes, like my first reactions to trying out the game for the first time. Did the javelin do that? Huh. Well, okay then. Use the booster. Got it. And getting this F-94D here, there we go. Ah, sometimes these guns, come on. Ah. Oh, okay, so he decided to actually shoot aircraft. That's makes sense. That is something that in this game mode, like you can actually do that in ground attackers because of how the zones work. You have a little bit of time to focus on stuff other than destroying zones with ground attackers and bombers. Chipped away at a bit of his health before the bot took him out. So yeah, with everything that I talked about, if you have any input, that would be greatly appreciated. On what I was thinking of doing. Got him. Yeah, the funny thing is that I'm not even really focusing on the bombers all that much this time around. There we go. So let's go after the bombers now. Unless they're going to be taken care of by themselves, that is fine. Wait a minute, how did they not take that out? There you go. Really? Come on, take him out. What are you doing? What are you doing? There. Yeah, the bots really sometimes just feel like doing whatever they feel like doing. There's only one bomber left in the flight, so that's pretty good. Oh, very good. 38,000 points. Yeah, if this was a match that had players and fighters and stuff, I probably would have only gotten like 20,000. Like, that's just how influential that kind of stuff is when I'm playing a plane like that. So this amount of credits is with a credit booster, but as you can see here with a credit booster, like, you can just get massive amounts of credits. I had a match where I think I got 500,000 without a booster in the tier 8 premium vampire, and then you can also get tons of experience for the 3 times for the first victory to get tons of pilot XP, especially with the pilot booster. With that being said, though, how many aircraft did I destroy? 26. 3 in the flight, 23. So with my kind of look at the bomber escort missions and everything, if you have a specialization mission that requires you to kill aircraft that are on the enemy team, so the red fighters, you can get tons of points towards specialization. So stuff like the F-86A that I got recently requires you to get 324 enemy aircraft kills, which can take quite a while if you're doing it through the normal conquest game mode, because that way I only get like 10 to 15 kills on average, I think, per game with that, unless it's an exceptional game. But on this, I've been quite reliably getting like over 20, even on some of the not as good fighters. More like stock planes. So I got the IL-40P done and the MiG-15 BIS done. So with a full speed build, you can get 500 miles an hour cruise speed and 700 rate of climb, which is really good. But the Swift with my pilot gets a higher rate of climb still, which is pretty funny. But overall, that is pretty nice. So with all that said, hopefully this gives a good update of what's been going on and all that lately, to just let you know that that I might not really upload anything of recently until, well, I'm not really sure. I mean, I could probably be recording much more than I have been, but for sure as soon as I get some personal stuff done that I've pretty much been mentioning like the past 2 months, and I just haven't finished everything that I need to get done. I did finish some of it, just not all of it, and hopefully I can get that all done this week. And after that's done, I don't know, it's kind of based on what I just feel like doing. And whatnot. And the interesting thing is that I wouldn't actually mind doing like dedicated World of Warplanes videos on like specialized plane builds, like the MiG-15 going full speed build with the polished skin and the upgraded engine, and like reviewing certain builds and stuff of what I have, because as of right now, I think quite possibly the biggest World of Warplanes YouTuber, VBAT, he has been having life stuff for the past 8 months, I think. So he hasn't really been actively uploading anything. And his friend Postal Monkey still uploads pretty much every day or every other day. But it's more so of showcasing specific planes rather than like high tier builds of various things and whatnot. I'm not sure if anyone would really care about that, but at one point I was interested in possibly doing that. At this point I probably won't, though, because like I said, like a thing that I've been thinking about is potentially doing Arknights, just because it is probably the game that I like the most out of what I've been playing. It's just a game that's more suited to be a side game rather than a main game that you actively play every day. It's kind of one of those things where you spend like maybe 30 minutes doing daily stuff, like in the middle of your routine. If I was working, it would probably be something that I would do while eating breakfast or while I'm getting ready, and then right before I go to bed. Like, it isn't something that you really spend a lot of time doing unless there's an event going on and there's new stages to do, and figuring out strategies for those. Or you can look up a guide if if you don't want to think up your own strategy. But yeah, that is something that I am at least considering at this point. And World of Warplanes has been getting at least updates in terms of like new premium planes, because of course premium planes gotta make money somehow. I really wish that they would finish like the Japanese heavy fighter line, or some of these other ones. The United States bomber line. But then again, the B-32 is kind of... I really don't like the Fortress bombers. They are basically XP pinatas, except for maybe the B-32. But like, I would really like to see more tech tree lines in the game. Like I think the British had bombers called Lancaster bombers, like a whole line of bombers on that, or if they had ground attackers that were more maneuverable, that were more focused on taking out other ground attackers or aircraft, like the Wirraway is, or Wirraway. That would be pretty neat. But at least it's being updated, which before it didn't have an update for like a year or more. So yeah, there is that. But with all that being said, though, I think I said everything that I wanted to point out for updates of what has been going on, hopefully without rambling too much. But I guess one thing that I did want to say at the end here, which I don't think I went too much in depth on, was that even though that I'm not working, and definitely playing games every single day isn't good for mental health, as fun as playing games all the time is, or sounds like it should be. For me, it definitely hasn't been the best. And with my medical condition, there's not exactly like a huge amount of options that I could do for some sort of career. And doing live streaming or somehow turning playing games into some sort of income or platform or whatever, I just don't know what I'm gonna do at this point. But I do want to say though that even with how working went, me being with my family has been much more joyful compared to how I was working. I mean, yeah, I wasn't having problems with playing games all the time and basically losing enjoyment of a lot of things that I used to enjoy. But at the same time, because I'm having those social interactions with family and friends and stuff, I would still say that I'm happier now, even with that downside, than I was working, because I thought that, well, in the middle of experiencing it, being lonely is and everything is quite possibly one of the worst feelings that I've ever felt in my life. So even though that that on the outside my life might sound really great by playing every day, or might not be the best because I'm not working, it just like anything, it still has its ups and downs. So with that being said though, thank you very much for watching, and I really wanted to update anyone who is interested in what has been going on. For those of you who do watch these somewhat rambly videos, thanks for watching. And with that, have a wonderful day.